Greetings everyone. Thank you so much for watching my lessons. This is the 20th lesson of the series where I teach you the fundamentals of grammar in English and how to speak the language step by step. Today's lesson is going to be really helpful for you guys because I'm going to be explaining how to talk about things that you used to do in the past. Now, in English, we have a word. The word is used and then it's followed by to. So we say used to. All right, and in English, used, or used to, is used by English speakers to describe any activity that happened many times in the past, or to refer to an activity that was true in the past, but is no longer true in the present. So, in order to form a sentence, you will first use a pronoun like I, you, he, she, it, we, and them, or they, sorry. Next, you have to add the word used, or used to. Then you attach a verb to the end. So, used to, ... The verb comes right here on this part. And then finally, you add the rest of your sentence, whatever you want your sentence to be. The verb that you choose must be in the infinitive form, which is why we have to right here. So, used to eat, used to have, used to go, used to take, used to swim, used to, etc. Okay? Now, if you're making a negative sentence in English, make sure that you use the word didn't. And then use the word use, without the letter D. There is no letter D. Here, in the positive sense, yes, there is the letter D at the end. Here, since it's negative, no, We don't have the letter D attached to it when it is negative or when it is a question, So the same is true for when you make questions using the word did in the beginning. So we'll put did at the beginning of the phrase. In that case, you would also use use, So in these examples here, guys, you can see the difference. I used to have long hair when I was young, So you're talking about something that you used to have, consistently when you were young, In this case, you had long hair, like long hair. Probably now you no longer have long hair. You probably have short hair, but I used to have long hair when I was young, meaning when I was young, the whole time, or, consecutively, I had long hair. I didn't used to have short hair, stating another fact, Normally, your hair was always long. It wasn't really short, And then here we have a question. Did you used to have curly hair when you were little? Did you used to have curly hair when you were little? Now, long hair is like this. So, say we have a person here. We have long hair right here. Then we have short hair like this. And then we have curly hair. Curly hair is like this. Curly hair. Did you used to have curly hair when you were little? Maybe yes, maybe no. You could say, yes, I did. I did used to have curly hair when I was little. Or you could say, no, I didn't. I didn't used to have curly hair when I was little. Let's go ahead and begin with the next example. It didn't used to be dangerous in the city. It used to be safe. So here you can see we use didn't used to without the letter D. And we also use it used to be safe, used to, with the letter D, because it's positive. So, again, it didn't used to be dangerous in the city. It used to be safe. Dangerous is when there's a lot of crime, maybe there's a lot of, kidnappings or thieves or something like this. But it used to be safe, meaning you could go out and you can feel confident that nothing will happen to you, You feel safe. Nobody's going to hurt you. Nobody's going to take anything from you. Question. Did it used to be dangerous in the village? Question, right? Did it used to be dangerous in the village? And you can answer, right? You could say, yes, it did used to be dangerous in the village. Or you can say, no, it didn't used to be dangerous in the village. It also used to be safe, It was also safe in the village. You could say something like that. Let's move on to Mario. It says, Mario used to play basketball after school. Mario used to play basketball after school. So, a few years ago, when Mario was in school, he used to play basketball. It was his thing that he did every day, consecutively, after school. He would play basketball. But used to kind of represents a time in the past. We're not talking about now. So maybe now he doesn't play basketball. So we'll go to the next one. He didn't used to play tennis. Okay, so usually he played basketball, but usually he did not play tennis. He didn't like tennis when he was little. And then here we have a question. Did he used to practice a lot? Okay, did he used to practice a lot? Meaning, was it a tendency of his for him to practice every day? Did he used to practice a lot? And you could say yes, he did, or no, he didn't. Or you can make it longer. You could say yes, he did used to practice a lot, or no, he didn't used to practice at all. Never. All right, let's move on to Elvana. It says, Elvana used to ride a bike to her grandma's house. Okay, Elvana used to ride a bike to her grandma's house. So whenever you talk about getting on a bicycle and going from point A to point B, we have this, to ride a bike. Okay, Elvana used to ride a bike to her grandma's house. You'll notice here that we have an apostrophe. Okay, and then it says, she didn't used to ride a bike to her uncle's house. Okay, we have another apostrophe. And then question, did she used to ride a bike to her aunt's house? Okay, did she used to ride a bike to her aunt's house? Now, grandma is your mom's mother, or Elvana's mother's mother. Uncle is Elvana's mother's brother. And aunt is Elvana's mother's sister. Okay, so we have grandma, uncle, and aunt. And notice how we have used to in the positive sense, and didn't used to in the negative sense, and did she used to use without the D when we ask questions in English. Okay? Now let's talk a bit about the apostrophes. Okay? We have an apostrophe here, here, and then we have another one here. So we have all these apostrophes. What this does is show possession. Something belongs to you. It's yours. So grandma's house, the house. Who does the house belong to? Okay, the house is the possession of who? That's right. It's the possession of her grandma. And in this case, this house is the possession of her uncle. And in this last case, the house is the possession of her aunt. Okay? So an apostrophe shows possession, something that belongs to somebody, okay? Something that is somebody's property, all right? Let's move on to the next one. It says, they used to go swimming in Sally's pool when they were kids, okay? They used to go swimming in Sally's pool when they were kids. Again, you can see that we have an apostrophe here. So the pool is where you go swimming. It belongs to Sally. It's at Sally's house. They used to go swimming in Sally's pool when they were kids. There's another word that you can use besides kids. You could also say children. So if you don't want to say kids, you could say when they were children. Okay? And swimming is like when you go in water and you go swimming. And then finally we have this one. It says, did they used to dive in Sally's pool? Okay, dive is like when you put your hands up and you dive into the water. Did they used to dive in Sally's pool? Okay, so when you dive, you go into the water so as to go swimming. Okay, so did they used to dive in Sally's pool? And you could say, yes, they used to. Or no, they didn't used to. Or you could say, yes, they used to dive in Sally's pool. Or no, they didn't used to dive in Sally's pool. Also notice that we have the apostrophe here and here showing possession. Okay, it belongs to Sally. It belongs to her. In this case, the pool. Okay, that's it for this lesson, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll definitely see you next time. Bye.